Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I am back with my coaching reality series called From a Coach's Perspective. Today, I want to give you 5 reasons why you should continue to train if you're dealing with an injury. And, this is another controversial topic because most people are told when they're injured, rest, ice, don't train, stay away from the gym. And it's not necessarily bad advice, but in my opinion, it's very more often than not misguided advice. All right. Because that advice usually comes from people who don't work out. That advice usually comes from people who don't lift weights. That's very generic information given to the masses. And for myself personally, I mean, I've dealt with all kinds of injuries over the years. Nothing serious, but I have had some injuries happen to me in a gym, whether it's a strained bicep, a strained ligament. Luckily, nothing ever tore or broke. But I had my hernia surgery last year. 5 years prior to that, I had my appendix removed. So I have had to go into surgery before. But one thing I always kept doing was I kept moving. And I think the biggest mistake people make is when they're dealing with an injury is they stop moving and they become more sedentary because they're told to rest. Now, I'm going to list off the 5 reasons why I believe it's important to continue to train, to continue to stay active when you're dealing with an injury. All right. And again, controversial topic. A lot of people are going to hate on me on this because they know you need to rest. That's giving out bad information, bad advice. It's very negligent of you as a trainer, as a coach, to tell people to go to the gym if they're injured. And watch the whole episode because I'm not necessarily telling you to go to the gym if you're injured, but I'm going to tell you that if you want to recover in an intelligent manner and you don't want to create bad habits, taking too long off the gym, maybe getting into some poor eating habits. Hey, I can't train. Maybe I'll just come off my diet for a bit. A lot of people do that when they're injured. They say, well, if I can't go to the gym, what's the point of following my diet? They go down this downward spiral. Then they start going through maybe a depressed state, and then they fall off completely. Okay. So even when they're feeling ready to go back to the gym, now it's that much harder. All right. So I'm going to give my 5 reasons why I believe people should still train through an injury. If you disagree, comment below, send me a DM, tell me why you think you should not train through an injury. All right. Reason number 1. An injury doesn't mean your entire body is injured. 2 weeks ago, I'm training arms in the gym by myself. It's 6:30 Saturday morning doing barbell curls. I've done barbell curls for 20 plus years, never had a problem. All of a sudden, snap. I hear a snap. I feel a sharp pain right in my brachialis, right here. Never had that happen before. Put the bar down. What the hell is that? It's a sharp pain that lasts for maybe 5 seconds. Then it goes away. Start playing around with my bicep a little bit. The pain's still there. It's not terrible. It's probably like a 4 out of 10, but it's there. It's noticeable. I figure, well, okay, biceps are done for the day. I'm not going to screw around with that. Let's see how the triceps feel. Go through my triceps. Triceps feel good, but that bicep is still lingering, still there. So you know what? I'm 35 minutes into my workout. I only had like 10 minutes left on the clock anyway. I'm going to call it there. That's it. Call it there. Go on with my day, train a few sessions, testing out the bicep while I'm training clients just to see how it's feeling. It's not getting any better. I'm done on the floor. First thing I do, I go to the local drugstore. I pick up some Voltaren, okay? Topical adhesive for my arm, rub that on there. Get some Advil in there, ibuprofen, help decrease inflammation. Go home, ice the area. I now have an injury. At this point, I'm hoping it's not a tear. There's no bruising. So I know it's nothing crazy, but I don't know for sure if it could be maybe a grade 1 tear. All right. So I don't know if it's grade 1 tear, grade 2 tear, just partial tear. I'm not too sure what the injury is, but I want to be very careful not to make it a full on tear because if it's a full on tear, now it needs surgery. So I'm very, very intelligent with how I'm going to recover and how I'm going to heal this. So I continue to apply the topical. I continue to ice it. I continue to move it. I don't just rest it. I move it. I know with weights, but I move it throughout the day. I said, you know what? I'm going to take Sunday off from the gym. It was going to be my day off anyway from the gym. I just trained 6 days in a row. So I'm just going to give my day a break. No problem. Sunday comes around. Biceps still a little tight, a little sore. Nothing crazy. But again, continue with the ice, continue with the topical, continue to move it around a little bit. Monday comes, like, you know what? One more day off from the gym will do my arm good. I'm just going to take one more day off. Took the day off. So I took 2 days off in a row. Come back to the gym on Tuesday. So, not going to train arms, but I feel like I can train legs. Why not? I can do legs. I can do squats. I can do lunges. I can do straight leg deadlifts with grabbers. No problem. I can do calf raises. So I go ahead and I train my legs and I train my abs because I can still do crunches, still do leg raises. So no problem training legs, no problem doing abs. Next day, did chest. Chest is more pressing movements. No problem doing my bicep at all. Next day, I did shoulders. Same thing. Day after that, I did triceps, no biceps, just triceps, no problem whatsoever. So, and then I said to myself, you know what? Now we're about 4 days, that's 5 days since post-injury. I'm going to continue that cycle for another 3 or 4 days. So that means no back, no pull downs, no rows, and definitely no curls. Giving that bicep a longer time to recover. So I did that. And after about a week and a half back in the gym doing back this morning, felt fine. I gave my body enough time to heal and rest, but I did it in an intelligent manner. I could still train other muscle groups. So the point of this story is that even though I hurt my bicep, I have another 127 muscles in the human body that I can train. So why would I take off a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from the gym when I can still train legs? I can still train shoulders. I can still train chest. I can still train abs. I can still train triceps. So yeah, I'm not going to train my biceps. Hell, I could still train my left bicep. So that was not a problem. So my point is, just because you're dealing with an injury in one specific location of your body, it doesn't make it a free card to just take off a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks from the gym. You don't need to. All right. You just have to train around the injury. And if you have an understanding of basic anatomy and physiology, you're not going to injure that muscle. All right. So my recommendation to anyone who's dealing with an injury, whether it's chronic or acute, in a specific area, find out what you can and cannot do with that muscle and work around it, because there are 128 muscles that you can train in the human body. All right. Reason number two why I believe you should train through an injury. Complete rest often creates more problems than it solves. This is so true. All right. So when you give yourself time off from the gym, you start to break your good habits. Going to the gym for a lot of people, especially people who don't like going to the gym, is very, very challenging, right? That's not easy to do. So they have to go through the steps of, oh, I got to get ready to go to the gym. I got to get all my clothes for the gym. I have a pre-workout meal, a post-workout meal. I've got to fit this into my day, whether it's between work or whether between dropping the kids off from school, picking them up. It's a lot. So if you take that hour, hour and a half of your day away, and now you're dealing with that injury, what's going to happen is that mentally you're setting yourself back, because taking that much time off from the gym can be detrimental to you getting into that routine, and it's taking you out of that routine. And now all that time it's spent for you to get into that routine of going to the gym on a regular basis, whether you go first thing in the morning or after work, now you've broken that for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's very hard to get back into it again. All right. So that's why I always tell people, when you're dealing with an injury, you still want to keep those good habits. You don't want to completely take your foot off the gas. And that's so true when it comes to your diet too. A lot of people I know, when they've been injured, they kind of say, well, what's the point of meal prepping? I can't go to the gym anyway. I'm like, if anything, if you can't train, your diet should be dialed in 110%. When I went through my appendix surgery, when I went through my hernia surgery, everything was perfect on my diet. I did not give myself any leeway, because I'm like, you know what? I'm not training to my full ability. I'm moving, I'm walking, I'm on the treadmill, I'm doing cardio, but I'm not really doing my weights. Okay. So I have to make sure my diet's dialed in so I don't have a further setback. So taking a complete time off, to me, that's a huge mistake, because it's going to get you out of your routine. And once you're knocked out of your routine, it's so hard to get back into it. All right. So taking a prolonged period of time off from training, big mistake, in my opinion, if you're dealing with an injury. All right. Reason number three, I believe you should train through an injury. Staying in the gym protects your mental health. 100%. There are so many people that tell me after a workout, they feel so much better. They feel like they've accomplished something. They think more clearly. They sleep better. All right. They're in a better mood. All those endorphins are released. When you can't train, for a lot of people, anyone who trains 5, 6 days a week will tell you this. When you don't train, you start to go down somewhat of a depression. All right. This depressed spiral. It happens for a lot of people. Now, no, it doesn't happen if you take 1 or 2 days off like I did last week. But if you start taking like 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, and so on, that can really set someone down into a depressive state, because a lot of people, they like to work out for the mental benefits. So I've talked about this. For me, is that one of the main reasons I like to work out every day is because I feel it really helps my mental state, and it really does help me become more productive with my business. It allows me to think more clearly. I'm in a better mood, stronger libido. So all these things correlate with exercising daily. It doesn't have to be lifting weights daily, but it's movement. Movement is key. A lot of people who don't move, they get a little bit more lethargic, a little bit more moody, a little bit more irritable. And I truly believe it's because they're not moving, they're not exerting energy out of their body. And when you exercise, you release endorphins. And endorphins are those feel good moments that you have. So you feeling better is going to allow you to put you in a better mood. It's going to allow you to be more productive at work. Okay. And like I said, you're going to think more clearly, you're going to sleep better, you'll recover better. So all these things are important. And that's why I really think when, people leave the gym, I don't want to say that the gym is the answer for depression because depression is a real thing. But what happens when people who are dealing with things like depression and they were working out and then they stop, I feel like it can get a lot worse for people. And there's a lot of people who've told me over the years that the workout is the best thing they can do for their mental state. I've had numerous people tell me this. People who just say, you know what, I don't even care if I'm not losing weight right now. I don't even care if I'm not building muscle right now. This is the best thing for my mental health. And the amount of times someone has told me that, it's unbelievable. And it's so true because I can relate to that. And I'm very empathetic towards people who have to deal with these, mental health disorders. And that's why I'm very careful to tell people, well, working out is going to cure your depression. That's not true. It's not. Especially if you've been clinically diagnosed with depression or bipolar, a workout's not going to fix that. But I don't think it's going to hurt it. Okay, in my opinion, it can help, but it's not going to fix it completely. And if you're someone who just gets depressed from time to time, sorry, they're cleaning my windows, so there's a little bit of noise in the background. Um, if you're someone who does, you get depressed from time to time and, you feel like, I don't know if I can even make it to the gym, that can be problematic for people, right? Sometimes the depression or can just stop someone from just getting out of bed. All right. So you don't want to put yourself in that position if you're someone who's already a fairly happy person. And yeah, we all have our depressed moments, but if you're usually in a typically a good move and you're productive and now you get injured and now you start letting yourself take time off from the gym, time off from exercise, time off from depression, that can really have an effect on your mental state. So I strongly advise anyone who's dealing with an injury not to stop going to the gym. Even if you have to stop going to the gym for a week, that's fine, but still get out and move. Still get out and walk. Go for a run. Just move yourself. Go for a swim. You can still create movement. I remember after I had my inguinal hernia surgery, I couldn't go into the pool, which I was getting ready for that surgery for 3 months. I was swimming every day, but I couldn't get the stitches. I couldn't get the actual like where they put the dressing. I couldn't get that wet, so I couldn't go in the pool for a week. So it's like, okay, well, I can't swim, but I can still walk. And what started off as just a very slow 1 block walk around my building turned into 2 blocks, turned into 3 blocks, and I went down to the seawall. So I was moving again. Okay. And that was key. No, I couldn't lift weights right away. Okay. That took about 2 weeks to get back into doing any light weights and then a full month to really get back into my actual full regime. But I was still moving. And those movements, even though they were such small achievements for me, because I was dealing with such a significant injury that I was recovering from a surgery, those were big achievements for me. Hey, now I can walk 1 block. Now I can walk 2 blocks. I wasn't trying to win a bodybuilding show that month. My goal was just to create movement and get my body back. Okay. And more so, it was more for my mental state than my physical state. All right. Reason number 4, you should train through an injury. Doctors are experts in medicine. They're not experts when it comes to exercise science. They're not experts when it comes to anatomy and physiology. They're not. The amount of GPs that have told clients of mine, oh, whoa, you have an injury. Don't go to the gym. I'm like, why? Why not go to the gym? Sorry, you have an injury in your foot. You fractured your ankle. Why can't you do a shoulder press? Explain to me why you can't do a barbell bench press. Why can't you do a seated row? The injury's in the ankle. The ankle is not involved in any of those movements. To me, that is negligent advice. That is generic bullshit advice. And a lot of people like to hear that advice. Like, yeah, I get to take some time off from the gym now. I'm injured. I'm like, no, this is not good. Why are you listening to a GP about what you should be doing for exercise? What do GPs know about exercise? Unless they're a sports doctor. I mean, your typical GP, I'm sorry, but doesn't know shit about weight training. Most of them don't. Most GPs are not even in good shape, the ones I've seen. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not knowledgeable when it comes to medicine, but when it comes to exercise, I don't think I've ever met a GP that knows what the hell they're doing in the gym. They don't. And that's okay. But then they shouldn't be giving advice and saying no gym because you don't know what the hell the person does in the gym. All right. That's like me telling someone, I think you should take this medication because you're feeling like this. That's negligent. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to tell someone take this medicine if I don't know. That's a doctor's job, not my job. But I can tell you from working with people, working with just everyday people and athletes, if you have an injury, shoulder injury, okay, you have a shoulder injury. Maybe you can't do a bench press. Maybe you can't do a shoulder press. Maybe you can't even do a lateral raise. Why can't you do a row? Why can't you do a pull down? Why can't you do a tricep press down? Why can't you do a lunge? Why can't you do a squat? I don't know. It's a shoulder injury. So you have to, again, that goes back to the first one, is like, or the second reason, you have to locate the injury and say, okay, well, what cannot do before you just say, well, no, just rest. Rest is not necessarily bad advice, but prolonged periods of rest. When a GP says, well, don't go to the gym for 6 to 8 weeks. To me, I'm like, no, that's terrible advice. I mean, that might make work for you who doesn't even go to the gym, but for me, no way. I'm not listening to you. I'll listen to you about my medication. I'll listen. I'll take whatever painkillers you're telling me to take to help me, recover from my injury faster, recover from my surgery faster. But when it comes to exercise, no, thank you. I'm not listening to you. All right. And I have my blood work done. I talked about this a few months ago on the channel. My testosterone levels were double what the average male's testosterone levels should be. First thing my GP says to me, well, you're going to have to scale down the exercise. Your testosterone levels are too high. You're at risk of heart attack or stroke. Now, I have respect for my GP, but I cannot take advice from someone who's got a belly about exercise. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm not fat shaming anybody. I'm truly not. But it's difficult for me to take it. That's like me taking financial advice from someone who's broke. No, thank you. Okay, I appreciate your opinion, but I'm still at risk of heart attack or stroke if I don't do anything. That could happen, right? So what am I going to do? Just stop exercising because my testosterone levels are higher? No. And then when I look at what's deemed as normal, I'm like, well, that's what's deemed as normal for the average sedentary person. Why am I, someone who works out daily, someone who's fairly fit, whose resting heart rate is below 40 beats per minute? Why am I grouped into the sedentary men profile? And it's the same thing I say to my clients who work out daily. I'm like, don't allow generic advice to consume you. Because if you do that, if you constantly just put your GPs on a pedestal and say, well, my GP said this, and I've had GPs tell my clients that have high cholesterol levels don't have eggs. There's still GPs that say that. I'm like, it's not the eggs. It could be all the other crap you have, the fried bacon that you're consuming, right? Could be having butter every day. Or it could just be your genetics. More often than not, when it comes to cholesterol levels, if your LDL levels are high, guess what? And your diet's perfect, guess what? That could just be your genetics. And in that case, you go on a cholesterol medication, something like Lipitor, problem solved. All right. So for someone to tell me, oh, you shouldn't exercise as much. Thank you, but I'll continue to exercise. Prescribe me the medication that you think I need for any actually health issues I have or post-surgery that I needed, just like T3s or something. I'll take them because I want my body to recover in the quickest and most effective way possible. But when it comes to exercise advice, you can save it. I don't need to hear your advice. You're a GP. All right. My last reason why you should train through an injury. Your goal should be to train smarter, not harder. I always talk about approaching your workouts intelligently, okay? Training methodically. And the reason I talk about this is because there's so many people that do not pay attention to their body. They don't listen to the signs from their body. You go to that bicep injury that, it's still there. It feels good, but I know it's still lingering. So I'm being very careful. So earlier today, I did back for the first time in a week and a half. It was a row day. But usually I start with bent over barbell rows and I put a 45-pound plate on each side. It's pretty easy for me. But today I started with 15 pounds per side. Then I moved up to 25. Then I moved up to 35. So I really felt the weight, okay, how does this feel on my bicep? It feels okay. Okay, keep going. I didn't go to my max weights. I went probably about 75% on all my lifts today because I want to see how it's going to feel tomorrow. Everything feels okay tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to make a mental note of that. Next week, I can push it a little bit more. If it didn't feel okay, no, keep it light, or we're not ready to go back to train back, but I can still train my shoulders. I can still train my chest. I can still train my triceps. All right. So again, I'm listening to my body. I'm allowing my body to guide me. All right. And that's important too, because again, so many people, they have, I don't know if it's ego or if it's distraction from the phones, but it's almost like they're not aligned with their body. And I always tell my clients, I'm like, if you're paying attention to what you're doing in your gym, your body will give you warning signs. Like that snap I had in my bicep, I could have kept curling. I definitely could have popped out another 4 or 5 reps, but I stopped mid-6. I'm like, hell no, hell no. Even though it hurt, it was like it was still bearable to curl. I'm like, why would I risk tearing that muscle? I'm not right now. I'm hoping it's a strain. Okay, at that point, I'm hoping it's a strain. I don't have an ultrasound. I don't know for sure, but my hope is that it's just a strain. It's not a tear. I'm talking about when I was doing this workout. I'm not going to continue to knock out 9 or whatever rep I was on, finish up my set. Hell no. You know that go big or go home or no pain, no gain? That's all bullshit. I'm like, no, thank you. There's pain. I'm stopping. And that's why I always tell my clients, I'm like, if you start to feel any level of pain, not good pain, and you start to feel like, hey, even if I say, okay, 3 more reps, it's like, no, Nick, to me doesn't feel right. I'm like, put the bar down, put the dumbbell down, rock the weight on the cable stack, whatever it is. Do not continue. If you listen to your body, it's going to guide you through your workout. Okay. If you don't listen to your body and you continue to push when it's telling you do not push, the injury is going to become 10 times worse. All right. And yeah, freak accidents happen. I get it. Sometimes, you're in the gym that you can't control something. I've seen that happen to people. But more often than not, when I've seen injuries happen in the gym, it's because people are not paying attention. Okay. And I'll be honest with you, I've never had a client injure themselves in the gym. 25 plus years of doing this job, I've never had it happen. All right. But I've seen people injure themselves in the gym. And what happens when I'm training clients, I don't just stand there and count reps. I'm standing there. I'm watching a few things. I'm watching the muscle contract, if it's contracting properly. I'm seeing if they're using momentum. I'm also watching for their facial expressions. Okay. Because if they're like looking like they're in agony and it's not like fatigue agony, it's like this friggin' hurts. I'm gonna say, you know what? We got to lighten the load or we got to take this exercise out today because I'm watching your body mechanics and this doesn't make sense. And I'm watching your facial reactions and you're in pain. So we got to change up the exercise. Sometimes people don't know. And that's what a good trainer sees is, you know what, this exercise, squatting's not working for you today. Let's switch it out. Or let's put it at the end of the workout. Let's warm you up with some lunges first because your range of motion sucks right now. Okay. And you're risking lower back injury. You're risking straining a quad. I don't know what. You're going to tear a hamstring. Who knows? So not on my watch. So it's very important to listen to your body. Okay. So focus on training smarter, not harder. If you're dealing with an injury, go back, bicep, whatever it is, feel it out. Don't go back to the gym and do the same weight you were doing for set number 1. Go even lighter. Okay. Even when I did my chest flies, I usually start my flies with 25-pound dumbbells. I start with 15-pound dumbbells. Because if you do a fly, anyone will tell you your bicep is your stabilizer. So I want to make sure my biceps like, yeah, that's okay, Nick. We can keep going. All right, good. Now I'll go up to 20, 25. I'm in no rush. All right. I want my body to tell me this is okay, this is not okay, because I respect my body. And no one knows better than you what's going on inside. No one. Not your coach, not a doctor, not your best friend, not your training partner, not your wife, not your girlfriend, not your boyfriend, your husband, nobody. You know your body better than anybody else, period. All right. If you listen to your body, it will guide you through the workouts, even if you are dealing with an injury. Anyway, that is my top 5 reasons why I believe people should train through an injury. If you disagree, leave a comment. I will get back to you. If you want to come on the channel and you want to explain why you think this is bad advice, I'm more than happy to debate you on that. I've always said I'll debate anybody who wants to debate on topics. I'm always open for discussion. Rarely will I delete comments. Obviously, if they're racial comments or if they're sexist comments, yes, they're not going to stay on the channel. But freedom of speech, I totally believe in that. So if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear it. And yeah, explain why you believe people should rest and not do anything if they're dealing with an injury, whether it's acute or chronic. Anyway, this episode will be going out on Wednesday, July the 22nd. As a reminder, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, your workout program, supplements you are currently taking, not taking, or considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe if you have not already liked the content. It really motivates me to continue to push out all this content. Coaching Reality every Wednesday, No Filter Q&A every Monday. YouTube shorts come out 3-4 times a week, and along with my Instagram posts that are daily and my LinkedIn posts as well. So if you haven't added me on LinkedIn, add me on LinkedIn, join our Facebook group page, Forever Fit. It's all in the YouTube profile. And yeah, I appreciate the support and all the feedback I receive from each and every single one of you. Anyway, I will see you all next week. And thanks again for the support. Bye for now.